G'day, Malcolm. Yeah, g'day there, mate. How you doing? Yeah. How's life with the virus? Oh, mate, you know, yeah. Nah, the virus hasn't affected me much, mate, you know. I only go to town once a month as it is, so I just sort of stayed away for a bit longer, that was all, mate. So there, it didn't worry me much, it didn't worry me, you know. Tell you what, though, had a bit of an adventure the other week, mate. Oh, yeah, mate. I got arrested, mate. Can you believe it, mate? I got arrested. Yeah. You know, now the day started as a normal sort of a day. You know, I was running a little bit late, about 5:30 in the morning, mate. You know, the sun was just creaking up a bit, you know. And I'm out letting the chooks out and feeding them. You know, they got free range bloody chooks. And I'm feeding the ducks and the geese, mate, you know, and just doing the morning chores, if you like, you know. So that's what I'm doing, and I spots all these cars coming up my driveway, mate. Now that's not common, you know. Might get one neighbour popping in now and then, but geez, not 5 cars. And as they got a bit further along, I could see the last one was a local copper, and he's beat up old 4-wheel drive. So I'm thinking, geez, I better go over and have a bit of a look, see what's going on. So I wandered over, and most of the coppers had gone to the house, you know, and George was just standing there next to his 4-wheel drive, you know, local copper guy, and I sort of says to him, you know, what's going on here, mate, you know? And he sort of says, they're here to arrest you, Malcolm. They're going to arrest me. And I sort of said, what for? What have I done? I don't know what I could have done. And they're saying I'm growing marijuana in me cornfield. And I'm thinking, geez, marijuana in me cornfield? I'd have just harvested it the other day. I thought there was a few weeds growing. Yeah, they'd come up the last few weeks, but that's pretty normal. Didn't see any, well, I wouldn't know what marijuana looked like, but didn't see anything out of place, you know. So, anyway, I thought I better sort it out. So I says to George, got to be a mistake, I'll go sort it out. So I wandered over to what looks like the boss guy. Now, you know, you can tell a bloody boss guy or a bloody someone in charge, mate. They're always holding back when something's happening. Now, here's this guy, you know, sort of standing behind his car, and I figured, yeah, he's got to be the bloke in charge. So I walked up to him, you know, and I noticed the cops on me front veranda, mate. They got this big sort of battering ram thing. They're going to knock me front door down, mate. And I'm thinking, you know, my goodness, mate. So I says to this boss guy, you know, I says, listen, mate, country people don't lock their front door. That door's probably not locked. And he sort of looks at me and he gets on the radio. Now, they're only standing over there, mate, but he gets on the radio. Check the door, check the door. Check the bloody door. Anyway, they did, and they all rushed into the place. And I'm hearing crashing and banging. They're yelling out, clear, clear. I think, geez, what are these blokes doing, you know? Anyway, and this copper, I can see, you know, he's a big city copper, you know, and I sort of thinking, you know, maybe he's not quite with it, you know. Anyway, he looks at me and I can see the wheels slowly turning, sort of, he's starting to wonder who the hell I am, and he sort of said, who are you? You know, and I stick my hand out. Now, I know you're not supposed to stick your hand out and shake people's hand with the virus, but it's just force of habit, mate, you know. And I did that, and I said, I'm Malcolm McDonald, you know, and he sort of drags out some handcuffs and whacks some handcuffs on me, mate, you know. And he says, you're under arrest for the propagation of this drug and that drug. And I'm thinking, oh, geez, mate, you know, what have I done here? I thought, geez. But at any rate, then all hell broke loose, really, because what happened was, under the stairs at the front of the place, there's a nesting goose. And she's got about 10 eggs under her, mate, you know. Now, her partner, her mate, you know, his name's Mary, he was off getting a feed when they went in. But he's back. Now they're coming out, mate. You know, it's still a bit dark. And he spots them, mate, and he's not a happy chappy. His wings go out and he charges, mate. And they didn't know what hit him, mate. he grabs one of them, the back of the leg, mate, and he's wiggling his head around, you know, and he's got his wings and he's bashing the bloke with it. And the bloke didn't know what hit him, and so he got such a fright, his legs went out from under him with all the slippery muck. It's a bit mucky around that part of the place. And down he goes into the mud. Another one tries to help him, and he goes down as well. Mary's on top, bloody going bash, bash with his wings, you know, and pecking at him and that. And one of the other ones drags out what looks like a gun, mate. I think, geez, this copper's going to shoot poor old Mary. But it wasn't. It was some sort of electric shock gadget. And he lets this thing off, but Mary's not there no more. Mary's scarping. And he hits his mate. And his mate's all shaking and carrying on with the electricity going through him. And Mary races off back to the staircase with his wings out going, "Hey, aren't I a tough bloody gander, mate," you know, spruiking to his mate. What a funny sight it was, mate, to be seen, you know. Anyway, after all that settled down a little bit, they dragged me off to town, mate. Took me to the cop shop, mate, and they got me in the interrogation room, you know, and they're doing the good cop, bad cop routine at me, you know. They're giving me grief, you know, and the other guy's being real friendly, you know. And they're going on about, you know, where did I sell it, you know, where did I buy the seed, who's my contacts, blah, blah. And I'm sort of thinking, geez, mate, I grew some corn. That's what I grew, you know. I bought the seed from the produce store, you know. I sold the bloody corn to Kellogg's, mate. And they're getting upset at me, telling me I'm a smart person, you know. And I'm thinking, geez, mate, you know, in trouble here. But I'm still confident it'll get sorted out. It can't be, that couldn't be that bad, you know. Anyway, eventually the bad cop guy's starting to get more and more angry. He goes out, you know, the other guy sort of tries to be me mate. And then he comes back and he's got this bit of plant, mate, and he bashes it down on the desk. And then he starts going on about how there's 30 coppers out at my place pulling this stuff up. And I sort of said to him, mate, I'm going to plough it in a week's time. I wouldn't bother if I were you, you know. And he said, it's going to be used as evidence against you in a court case. And I'm thinking, geez, mate. So I picks it up, mate, and I sort of says to him, now, this is a bit of stinking Roger, mate. You know, it's a weed that grows around these parts. There'll be hundreds and hundreds of acres with stinking Roger comes up after the corn, you know. And he sort of looks at me, you know, and George, the local copper, who's standing in the background, supposed to be guarding the door, I think, he just broke up. You know, he just broke up, mate. He couldn't hold it in any longer, you know. He's laughing his head off, and these two city coppers, they sort of looked at each other, and one of them runs over with this bit of stinking Roger and shows it to George and sort of says, you know, is this true? Is this true? And George just sort of, he can't talk, he's laughing so much, he's just nodding his head, you know. And they both scarper out of the room, and then I can hear bloody yelling and bloody chastising each other and carry on outside, mate, you know. And after a little while, things settle down a little bit. The local sergeant comes in, you know. Now, the local sergeant's not a bad bloke, but he's stern, you know. He's old school copper, you know, really stern. Never seen him smile in my whole life, mate, you know. Anyway, he comes in and he's got this big smile, he's grinning. He chastises George for laughing. And then he comes over to me and says, Malcolm, no charge, get the hell home, you know. George gave me a lift home, and that was pretty well the end of it, mate, you know. You got to laugh, mate, you know. Geez, were you upset about all that, Malcolm? Nah, mate. Look, you can't get angry at people, you know. They just made a bit of a mistake. Those coppers are probably pretty good coppers in the city, dealing with gangsters and that sort of thing. They're just like a duck out of water in the country, mate. Can't blame them for not knowing what a bit of stinking Roger is, you know. And look, at the end of the day, you know, we've had this virus here, and everyone's got a bit down about it, you know, to be saying it, you know. Everyone's got a bit down. And this sort of thing happened, and it sort of lifted the whole district, mate. The whole district got a big laugh out of it, mate, you know, and cheered everybody up. And so, well, you know, it was a good thing, mate, you know. I'm going to dine out on this story for years, mate. Years, mate, you know. Oh, mate, you know. Anyway, I better let you get on with filming this car rally, mate, and and I'll see you around. Yep. Bye for now.